The afternoon sun shimmered on the newly poured sidewalk, casting long shadows that danced with the fluttering yellow caution tape. Jamie, a whirlwind of freckles and boundless curiosity, couldn't resist the allure of the forbidden. The old park, where he'd spent countless hours, was being transformed, and this glistening new path, still warm to the touch, was an irresistible magnet. He'd heard all sorts of cool things about the park's makeover. There was going to be a new skate park, an adventure playground with rope bridges and tree houses, and even a water feature that would turn into a splash pad in summer. As he approached, Jamie tried to identify these wonders in the unfinished project. He squinted at piles of lumber, imagining where the tree houses might go, and followed the outlines of what could be the skate park's half-pipe in the dirt. His curiosity about these features, still hidden beneath the construction chaos, only fueled his desire to explore further. Jamie lived just a block away from the park, in a small, cozy house where his bedroom window overlooked the construction site. From his room, he would spend hours looking longingly out the window, his gaze fixed on the unfolding scene below. Each day brought new fascinations. The arrival of the big cement trucks, the rhythmic clanging of metal as workers set up the new playground structures, the towering cranes lifting beams into the sky. He watched in awe as the park transformed, imagining the adventures he'd have once it was finished. His mother, Sarah, had decided it was a perfect day for a walk, something they did almost every Saturday afternoon. Today's walk was special. They were planning to go to the library afterward, where Jamie could check out new books on science experiments, his latest fascination. As they approached the park, Sarah noticed the fresh cement and the caution tape. "Stay back, Jamie!" she shouted, her voice filled with urgency. "You could sink into the wet cement and get stuck, or trip on those materials and hurt yourself badly. Watch out for the heavy machines and tools. If you get too close, you might get hit by a crane or forklift, or breathe in all that dust and chemicals. Don't knock anything over, or we'll have a real mess on our hands." They were close enough that she could see the wet cement, but she was distracted by a call from her friend, planning a community cleanup for the next weekend. Ignoring the gentle admonitions of his mother, who was momentarily preoccupied with her phone, Jamie crept closer. His mind was buzzing with thoughts of adventure and the thrill of being the first to explore the new park features. He'd seen other kids on construction sites in movies, always emerging unscathed and with a cool story to tell. Besides, the warnings from his mom seemed exaggerated. After all, he was careful, or so he believed. The air hummed with the distant sounds of hammering, the symphony of creation that called to his sense of wonder. The earthy scent of fresh cement hung heavy in the air, a new and exciting smell compared to the usual grass and trees of the park. A small, inviting puddle beckoned, shimmering like a silver coin. It wasn't a puddle, of course, but a treacherous pool of still wet concrete. But to Jamie, in his youthful defiance and the eagerness to claim his own adventure, it looked like just another step in his daily explorations. With a mischievous grin, Jamie stepped into the cool, yielding surface. It felt delightfully squishy beneath his feet, like walking on a giant grey marshmallow. He wiggled his toes, delighting in the strange sensation at first. However, he soon noticed it was getting harder to move his foot and toes around. The cement was starting to harden, clinging to his skin like cold, wet clay. Trying to lift his foot, he realized with a surge of panic that it wouldn't budge. Cold and clammy fear replaced his initial amusement as he understood. His foot was trapped. "Mom!" Jamie yelled, his voice cracking with urgency. Sarah, hearing the distress in her son's voice but unsure of its cause, looked around, her heart skipping a beat at the absence of Jamie by her side. She moved closer, following the sound of his voice, stepping past the caution tape with growing concern. Only when she was near enough did she realize what had happened. Jamie was stuck with his foot in the cement. "Oh no, Jamie!" she cried out, rushing over. "Sam! Lucy! Mike!" Jamie and Sarah both called out, their voices carrying across the street. Just then, a group of Jamie's friends, who were also out enjoying the day, came into view. There was Sam, with his bright red sneakers, Lucy with her ever-present sketchbook, and Mike, always the first to come up with a plan. They heard the calls and quickly crossed the street to join them. The friends gathered around, their laughter turning to concern as they saw Jamie's predicament. "Let's pull him out," Mike suggested, his voice filled with determination. They all tried, grabbing onto Jamie's hands, his arms, even his other leg, but the cement had hardened too quickly around his foot. Their efforts only resulted in them slipping and sliding, getting their hands dirty but making no progress. "It's not working," Lucy exclaimed, her sketchbook now on the ground as she tried to help. "We need more help." Jamie, feeling the weight of the situation, said to his mum, "I think we need to call the fire department." Sarah nodded, her face a mix of worry and relief at having a plan. She quickly dialed 911, her hands trembling slightly as she waited for the operator to answer. "911, what's your emergency?" the calm voice on the other end asked. "My son, he's stuck in fresh cement at the park," Sarah explained, her voice shaking with urgency. "We're at the new construction site by Maplewood Park. Please, we need help fast. He's really stuck." She gave the exact address, her voice steadying as she focused on providing all the necessary details to ensure a swift response. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder with each passing second. Jamie, huddled on the ground with his friends around him, felt a mix of fear and fascination. He watched as a fire truck, its crimson paint gleaming in the sunlight, screeched to a halt. A tall man with kind eyes and a reassuring smile emerged. Captain Hammond. "Don't worry, young man," he said, his voice calm and steady. "We'll get you out of there." A team of firefighters, their faces etched with concern, gathered around. One of them, Firefighter Lee, knelt beside him. "We're going to use a special tool to carefully loosen the cement around your foot," he explained gently, his voice soothing Jamie's racing heart. "It might feel a little strange, but we'll be very careful." Jamie watched, mesmerized, as Firefighter Lee expertly maneuvered a device that resembled a miniature jackhammer, but was specifically designed for rescue operations. Known as a concrete breaker or chipping hammer, it had a pointed chisel bit that vibrated rapidly to break through the hardened cement without causing injury. The vibration sent shivers up Jamie's arm as he felt the device working around his foot. "This tool," Firefighter Lee explained as he worked, "is made to safely break concrete. It uses controlled vibrations to weaken the cement around your foot, so we can get you out without hurting you. You might feel a bit of a tingle, but it's doing just what we need." The smell of burning metal, sharp and metallic, filled the air as the concrete breaker chipped away at the cement. Slowly, painstakingly, the cement began to give way, crumbling away in small, satisfying chunks, with Firefighter Lee narrating each step to keep Jamie calm and informed. Relief washed over Jamie in a warm wave, so intense it almost made him dizzy. He was free. His shoe, a grotesque sculpture of hardened concrete, was lost, but his foot was unharmed. The firefighters erupted in cheers, joined by Jamie's friends and mom, all clapping and laughing with relief. "Should he see a doctor?" Sarah asked, her voice still laced with concern. "Just to make sure he's okay," Firefighter Lee nodded. "It's a good idea to have it checked out, just to be safe, even if he looks fine." Jamie, looking down at his foot where bits of concrete still clung, asked, "How do I get all this cement off my foot?" Captain Hammond smiled. "We can help with that. We'll use some warm water and a soft brush to gently remove the rest. It might take some time, but we'll get it all off without hurting you." This practical solution, combined with the promise of medical checkup, eased the lingering worries of both Jamie and his mom. Captain Hammond, his eyes twinkling, knelt down. "You did the right thing by calling for help, Jamie," he said. "But remember, construction sites are not playgrounds. They can be very dangerous." Jamie, feeling a newfound respect for the firefighters and a pang of embarrassment, nodded solemnly. "I won't do it again, I promise." As a reward for his bravery and as a way to learn more about the people who had come to his rescue, the firefighters invited Jamie, along with his friends, to tour the fire station. They marveled at the gleaming red trucks, the towering ladders, and the intricate maze of hoses. "Wow, what's this thing for?" Sam asked, pointing at a large, complex-looking tool mounted on one of the trucks. "That's our jaws of life," explained Firefighter Lee. "We use it to cut through metal in car accidents to save people." "Can we try the fire pole?" Lucy pleaded, her eyes wide with excitement. "Sure, but one at a time," Captain Hammond laughed, guiding them to the pole. "Here's how you do it safely." As Jamie slid down the pole, he couldn't help but grin from ear to ear. "This is so cool," he shouted as he landed. Mike, always curious, was examining a fire hose. "How do you make the water come out so fast?" "It's all about the pressure," Firefighter Lee answered, showing them the connection to the hydrant. "We hook it up here, and the water comes out with enough force to fight big fires." Jamie, now with a firefighter's helmet on his head, felt a surge of pride. "Do you guys use these helmets all the time?" he asked while adjusting it. "Yep, they keep us safe," Captain Hammond replied. "And they make us look pretty official, don't they?" The kids laughed, asking more questions about each piece of equipment, their hands touching everything they were allowed to, their imaginations running wild with thoughts of becoming firefighters themselves. The tour was not just a reward. It was an educational adventure that sparked a new respect and interest in the work of their local heroes. The experience, though terrifying at first, had ignited a spark within Jamie. He had learned a crucial lesson about respecting boundaries and understanding the dangers of construction sites. He now knew to always heed warning signs and to ask for permission before exploring unknown areas. The importance of community was another lesson. He saw firsthand how people come together in times of need, from his mother's quick thinking to the firefighters' swift response. The strength found in friendship was evident as his friends rallied around him, trying to help before the professionals arrived, teaching him the value of teamwork and support. And every time he walked past the new sidewalk, a faint imprint of his foot, a permanent reminder of his misadventure, he smiled. He smiled not just at the memory of his fear, but at the courage he had found within himself, the kindness of strangers, and the incredible work of the people who kept his community safe. This incident had also shown him the importance of emergency preparedness, understanding that help is just a phone call away, and the profound impact of first responders in our daily lives. Jamie and his friends talked about the day often, each sharing insights on how to be safer, more aware, and more appreciative of the services that protect their community.